Hello again and welcome to Suds & Country Video. I'm Herb Suds. On tonight's show, I'm very honored to have Mr. Willie Nelson as my guest. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello, Herb. Nice to be here.
Okay. Let's talk about Willie Nelson up today for a while. How about Farm Aid? You did 4 of those Farm Aids.
Yeah.
And, why did you decide to do Farm Aid?
Well, I was watching the Live Aid show when it was on a few years back, and I heard Bob Dylan say, wouldn't it be nice if some of this money went to the American family farmer? And so then I started listening to some of the people going up and down the highway playing shows and talking to some of the farmers, and I began to see what a problem there was. I knew the farmers, like we talked about earlier, the farmer never has gotten as much as he should get for what he does and for the hours that he puts in. But I didn't realize that it had gone to the extent that it had, where they were just, seemed to be this big, huge conspiracy by big business to run out the little guy. And not only was it a conspiracy, it's one that's happening even as we speak. We're losing 100,000 a year. So since the 1985 Farm Bill that was supposed to have solved all the problems, we've lost 500,000 farmers. So there is a big problem.
Didn't solve many problems, that bill.
No.
No. Is there a Farm Aid 5 in the future?
Well, I don't rule it out. I would think that absolutely, if it's necessary to take care of it, you know, to keep the issue up front,
sure.
Then we would do one. I keep thinking that the people who can do something about it, the people in Washington, D.C., I keep thinking that they will if enough pressure is put on them.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to do, is to try to get the people out there who eat food to know more about where it comes from, and put the pressure on their representatives in Washington to make sure that they get good, healthy food. And the best way to be assured of that is to have it done by a small family farmer, the guy who loves the land.
That's right. Let's talk about country music, Cowboy Television Network. You want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things.
Why did you go into the network? Why did you go into a country music television network? Why is that?
Well, a guy come to me, says, what do you think about a cowboy network? I said, sounds great. He said, well, why don't we start one? So I said, well, okay, go get the money. And that's where he's at now.
He's getting, huh?
He's still looking.
What can we expect to see on this, on CTN? What kind of network is going to be? What's going to be?
Well, my idea of the way it should look would be good music and good movies 24 hours a day. And that's, you know, what I envision having on there. And so far, it's been, you know, sort of touch and go, getting all the finances together, but it's still a good idea, and if it is a good idea, if it's a good enough idea, it'll happen.
Sure, sure. It could be available all over the United States?
It would be available all over the world.
All over the world?
Right.
Very good.
It would be up there on the satellite, and they could find it anywhere.
And they go around the world. How about Willie Nelson, the Highwayman, along with Mr. Jennings, Mr. Cash, and Mr. Christopherson? How did the idea come about for the Highwayman?
Well, actually, the original Highwayman album came about because of the fact that we were in Switzerland doing a Christmas show, the 4 of us with Johnny Cash there, and it was his Christmas show. We were doing it, I think it was Geneva somewhere. And we talked about doing an album together with me and John, and then it got to be maybe me and John and Waylon together, and then why not all 4 of us? And then, so the next thing you know, we did the first Highwayman album. And
the Highwayman albums have been accepted into the hearts of the fans?
Oh yeah, it seems to be. And the Highwayman 2 album seems to be doing good. We've done one tour that was a lot of fun. We're doing another one in a few weeks. So it's been a lot of fun, and it was a good idea. I'm not exactly sure whose idea it was, but it was a good one.
Who writes the songs for the Highwayman album?
Just various songs come around, and we pick songs we like, and we'll go do them.
How did the label Outlaw come about? Back, you know, in the early days, I guess.
Oh, I think it all went back to the time when they were trying to, you know, label people, and it seemed to be a commercial label. They found a way to call, you know, one era of music there, put a label on it, call it outlaw music. And
what was the difference in outlaw music as opposed to country music or regular country music, or? 'Cause I read an article where it said, the Outlaws shot the music full of holes and adrenaline. Is that true?
Well, I don't know, but the guys that I was involved with back then, with Chris and Waylon and Roger and Leon Russell and all these guys, Billy Joe Shaver and Tom T. Hall and David Allen Coe, all these guys are very talented, and when all of us get together in one spot and perform, it draws a lot of people and calls a lot of attention to our music, and that was really the reason that we had the first 4th of July picnic, was to get all these so-called outlaws together in one spot.
That's quite a picnic. That's an annual event now, isn't it?
Well, it's sort of an annual. We had the 17th one this last July. Yeah.
I hear about them, but that's...
Yeah.
How about Willie Nelson, the movie maker? We have 9 movies.
Yeah.
That's what what's the most famous movie so far, out of all of them?
Well, my favorite is Barbarossa. I still think that's...
Is it?
Yeah.
What's the story with the Redheaded Stranger? That was...
that was probably maybe my second favorite. I don't know. Songwriter maybe is in there somewhere. But the Redheaded Stranger was one of those things that I had to do. You know, it was the album. I had to do the album, and then while I was doing the album, I was thinking about how we're going to do the movie. So now the movie is done, and it did whatever it did. But anyway, it was something I had to get out of my system.
And the movie was 1975, and from that movie you had Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain.
Right.
And Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain was a phenomenal song for you.
Yes, it was. The song was in the album, Redheaded Stranger album, and was actually a hit long before the movie came out.
Was it?
Yeah.
The Redheaded Stranger, that goes back to 1953. The song goes back.
That's when that song was written.
Well, who sang that song originally?
Well, it was written by a guy named Carl Stutz and a lady named Elizabeth something.
Oh, okay.
And she not only wrote Redheaded Stranger, she also wrote the song that's on my new album was coming out. Is a song called Little Things. She's a wonderful lady. She was a wonderful lady. Anyway, that's when that was written, and the first record on it was that I heard was a guy named Arthur Guitar Boogie Smith.
I play his music on the radio. He's excellent, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and he was the first guy that I ever. His band. I'm not sure who the singer was, but it was on his record.
He's basically instrumental, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he plays a lot of bluegrass instrumentals, and but he had a guy who sang the Redheaded Stranger, and it was under Guitar Boogie Smith.
And let's talk about Willie Nelson, the singer. It all started back in '57 when you were recorded a couple songs, or was it before that, sort of?
Well, I started singing when I was very young. It was '57 was, I guess, the first album that I got.
Recorded 2 singles, "No Place for Me" and "Lumberjack," out in Vancouver, Pennsylvania, Vancouver, Washington.
That's right. Yeah.
And then came Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain in '75.
Actually, there was one called "The Storm Has Just Begun" that I wrote and recorded back then. That probably me and a couple more guys are the only ones that's ever seen it or heard it.
What was your first #1 hit song? Blue Eyes?
No, a song that I wrote called "Family Bible."
That was the first one before Blue
Yeah.
Eyes? No kidding.
Yeah, that was back in 1959.
What's your most popular LP? Your most popular album that sold the most?
I guess it would be Stardust. It's been out for over 10 years now, and it's still popular.
It stayed on the charts for a long time.
It's still on the charts. It's back in, yeah, it jumped out for a week or two, but it's back in Billboard now. It's been in there over 10 years now.
You sing a lot of duets with different
yeah.
Like Merle was did Poncho and Lefty with
Right.
did the whole album with him, didn't you?
Right.
Who else did you sing with?
Oh, I don't know. I sang with a whole lot of people. You know.
What's the advantage of singing with duets with other entertainers?
I enjoy singing with the good singers, and the fact that we're all on separate labels makes it a little difficult sometimes, but I think it's good when all the good singers can get together and sing together. So that's really all I'm trying to do, is just sing with some of my favorite singers.
A lot of your music hit the pop charts. Was it intended to hit the pop charts, or was it, you know, crossed over from country to pop? But did you, do you write songs to be on pop charts, or they just went that way?
No, I just write songs. And the fact that Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain got played on a pop chart, I thought was an incredible thing to happen for its time there, because there was, it's as country a song, and that arrangement that we did was as country and simple as it could be. And the fact that it was played on pop stations just convinced me what I had sort of suspected, that good music is accepted everywhere.
Good philosophy, good philosophy. So far, you have had 35 plus albums out, 17 gold, 8 platinum, 4 multi-platinum.
You know way more about me than I do.
I'm doing my homework.
You sure did.
And Stardust, we just said that. Stardust was the longest album on the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awards. What was the most prestigious award you've ever received to date?
Oh, I don't know. I would hate to start listing them as 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they were all very appreciated, and they were all significant in their own way.
Have you had any unusual ones?
Oh, I guess the Indian of the Year award was a nice one. That was a few years back. 1973 Songwriters Hall of Fame. That was a prestigious. Nice one, yeah.
And 1979 CMA Entertainer of the Year. That
was me.
That was you, all right. How about Playboy Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, I like that one also.
And how about 1983 the Lifetime Achievement? That must have, you know, the National Academy of Popular Music.
Yeah.
You were the first country artist ever to be honored, and the 4th only recipient of that award. That was. How about Willie Nelson, a songwriter? You've been referred to as, by Mr. Chet Atkins, one of the greatest, and Mr. Tom T. Hall referred to you as the Shakespeare of country music. Now that's saying a lot.
It is.
Yeah. It is, huh? Okay.
Well, I'll have to respect these guys' opinions, but they're very intelligent people. You know?
What song established you as a songwriter in Nashville?
Hello Waltz.
You wrote Hello, Farron Young's?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, in 1961.
Wow, wow, wow. What was your first #1 song for somebody else?
It was Hello Waltz.
Where did
actually, no, I take it back. It was Family Bible. I wrote it and sold it for $50, and then watched it go up the charts and become #1 by Claude Gray.
Claude Gray.
Mm-hmm. That was back in 1959.
I don't recall him. What song to date that you wrote have been recorded by the other artists the most?
I guess Funny How Time Slips Away, or Nightlife, or Crazy. Those 3 have been recorded almost 100 times each, I guess.
That's so. What you wrote, let me see, did you write the first song that was recorded back in '57 that you sang? Did you write those 2 originals back that you recorded in Vancouver?
No Place to Go and Lumberjack?
Yeah.
I wrote No Place to Go. Lumberjack was written by Leon Payne.
Oh, that's right, I did read that.
Mm-hmm.
How about Willie Nelson, the DJ, back in the 50s?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you go into the DJ business?
Well, it was a way to stay in the music business. Even though I wasn't actually playing it, I was still playing it, playing the records, and I enjoyed doing it. I still enjoy doing it. I think one of these days I'll get me another disc jockey show somewhere.
When you're in Jersey, come up and help us out. Odd jobs. You taught Sunday school and played honky-tonk bars at night, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I bet that clashed, didn't it?
Well, I was singing to a lot of the same people.
You even went as far as entertaining presidents in the White House.
That's right.
What presidents did you entertain?
Jimmy Carter, and he's still a very good friend of mine.
How many nights a year are you on the road?
Well, we still do a couple of 100 days a year, and then studio for a while, and then do maybe a movie or 2 a year, and that keeps everybody pretty busy.
What do you do to relax?
I like to play golf.
Do you?
Yeah, and I'm a runner. I like to run. I like to ride horses.
What's ahead for Mr. Nelson? You've done quite a bit in your day.
Oh, I'm just getting started.
Okay, I like that attitude. I like that attitude. You know, I was reading in the in one of the magazines I just received on May 26th, the Billboard listed the top country artist album singles of the decade, meaning the 1980s. The top LPs, number 4 was Always on My Mind of the decade. And top singles, the number 1 song, Always on My Mind, and the number 4 song was To All the Girls I've Loved Before. That's saying, oh, that is incredible, I tell you. I just saw that today and I added it onto my list here. I was reading a paragraph about you. It said, when he accepted the Entertainer of the Year award in 1979 on the CMA show, he utilized the occasion to pay tribute to an earlier generation of country music artists who had influenced him in their day. You recall doing that?
Sure.
That was an incredible paragraph, the way you just, you know.
It was, I think it was Farron Young, Little Jimmy Dickens, and Ferlin Husky that I mentioned.
That's something? That was incredible.
Those guys are great entertainers, and actually they were popular back before any of the award shows happened, so they missed out on a lot of the goodies.
Yes, and you took the chance to do it. And I also ran on to read in the same paragraph, you haven't changed a bit. Also, well, I want to thank you for being my guest.
Well, thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure, an honor.
Thank you.
I can't imagine having sitting across the table from this man. Thank you once again. Hey, that's about it for Suds and Country. I want to wrap it up, and I will again thank Mr. Willie Nelson for being my guest on the show. And this is Herb. Until next time, keep smiling.
See you later.